What's going on, Alabama fans? Chris Daughtry here with you guys for another edition of the Alabama Football Report by Chat Sports. And coming up on today's show, we're going to continue talking about the transfer portal. We will also talk about a coaching change that has happened already here for this Alabama team. But first up, Isaiah Horton has officially entered the college football transfer portal, which is kind of annoying, especially the timing that it happened there. Literally 3 minutes after I pushed the video out yesterday talking about Isaiah Horton. This is going to be a guy that hopefully Alabama can retain going into the 2026 season. I thought there was a chance for him to go off to the NFL draft. I guess not. Literally 3 minutes after I posted that video and pushed it out live yesterday, it was announced that Isaiah Horton would be leaving Alabama via the transfer portal. And as of right now, this is pretty much what Alabama's wide receiver room looks like going into next season. You got Ryan Williams. He's going to be your, wide receiver one. Latsier Brooks. Rico Scott ended up entering the transfer portal, but Alabama was able to convince him to come back. You also have very highly touted 2026 signee Sedarian Morgan coming in, and Derek Meadows as well. So right now, you only have 5 wide receivers on this team, which, look, it's okay. Alabama does also do a lot of things in terms of that tight end room, getting them involved in the pass game as well. And they're also targeting some guys in the transfer portal at this wide receiver spot. But I will say, I think it does really hurt that you are going to be losing a guy like Isaiah Horton. You know, I said on our short video yesterday that, look, sometimes Isaiah Horton, unfortunately, disappeared in some games. But, you know, he did have some pretty big games for Alabama as well. Big catch there in the Iron Bowl this year to beat Auburn, had 3 touchdowns in that game. It almost seems like at any time a guy named Isaiah catches the winning touchdown against Auburn, they just ended up hitting the transfer portal. Hashtag Isaiah Bond there going to Texas a couple years ago after his game-winning touchdown grab. But look, I do think that it is a big loss for Alabama, but they are targeting guys hard in the transfer portal right now, and they're still targeting guys at this wide receiver spot. New name that popped up yesterday, Bama Online reporting that Tony Diaz out of UT Rio Grande Valley is going to end up taking a visit here to Tuscaloosa. He's expected to arrive on campus here late Friday night. That visit's going to go through Saturday. We'll see if Alabama can lock him down. But he's going to be a sophomore going into next season. And, man, he go look him up on social media. He posted some highlights on Twitter that were very electric. I think he could be a very, very good player in this Alabama offensive system. And he's going to be a guy, coming out of a smaller school, probably not going to cost, a crazy amount of money if Alabama's able to land him out of the transfer portal. But this really, I think, opens up Cam Coleman coming here to Alabama. Now, he is also expected to be on campus here in the next couple days. At some point this weekend, he's supposed to be on campus. This is a massive, massive target for Alabama that, frankly, I did not think that they would have the resources or the money to end up landing Cam Coleman. But the way that things are shaking out right now, you've had a lot of guys who probably were making a lot of money end up hitting the transfer portal, whether that was a guy, like Jalen Mbakwe, I'm sure Qua Russaw, James Smith, Keon Keeley, Isaiah Horton. I'm sure a lot of those guys were making a pretty solid amount of money here this past season in terms of the revenue share, in terms of the NIL opportunities. I think the report that I saw for Cam Coleman, he's kind of looking for about $2 million. But I think a lot of it also has to do with the fit and the comfortability factor as well. You got a couple guys on this team, Red Morgan, who played with Cam Coleman at Phoenix City there. And I believe he still has some friends on campus that go to Alabama who play other sports as well. So I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I do think it is a whole lot more likely that Alabama has a chance with landing Cam Coleman now than they probably had, I would say, just a couple days ago. So what is the percent chance that Alabama lands Cam Coleman? Scale it for me, 1 to 100, or I guess 0 to 100 maybe. But get your predictions down inside the comment section, down at the pinned comment of today's show. What is the percent chance that Alabama will land Cam Coleman? Now, a couple targets that Alabama was really trying to go after and get on campus here. Jacarius Peak and Jordan Ross, Both of these guys have already committed to new schools. Jacarius Peak, offensive tackle out of NC State. Alabama was working hard to try to get him on campus for a visit here, but unfortunately last night ends up committing to South Carolina. So he's totally out of the picture there. Number one offensive tackle in the transfer portal. It's a miss because you wanted him, to at least take a visit here for Alabama, but there's not really anything the coaching staff could do at the end of the day. He had a scheduled visit. South Carolina just won him over before he was able to take the visit here to Alabama. And then Jordan Ross, edge rusher out of Tennessee, ended up committing to LSU. So another guy that was expected to take a visit here to Alabama before he even gets on campus. Another team, this one being LSU, goes ahead and locks it down and gets the commitment for those two guys. So two guys there off the board. I did also want to touch on a couple guys that are leaving Alabama and kind of where they're, going as of this point. Now, Jalen Mbakwe and Joseph Ionata have both committed to Georgia Tech. Olaus Alinen very early on decided he was going to end up going to Kentucky, and then Wilkin Formby, very, very fast for him as well. He is ended up committing to Texas A&M. All right, we'll continue here in just a little bit, and we'll touch on some of the coaching changes and another offensive tackle target here for Alabama, the transfer portal. But today's show is presented by Prize Picks. Whether you're starting a new routine or making player picks for the first time, trying something new can be hard. But in life and on Prize Picks, it always feels good to be right. With high-pressure playoff matchups every single weekend and elite hoops action almost every single night, the action never stops, and it always feels good to be right on Prize Picks. And Prize Picks lets you take control. Make sure, if you guys see the max discounts, get those in to your Prize Picks lineups today. We've been talking about this Bears versus Packers matchup. We had a Prize Picks lineup with these two quarterbacks in it. Well, now Caleb Williams gets the max discount, 99% off his passing yard. So all Caleb Williams needs to do is get a half passing yard in this playoff game this weekend. It's going to happen. So make sure you get the max discount into your Prize Picks lineups today. We also have a new feature to talk about here on Prize Picks that I absolutely love that they added to the fold here. They now offer early payouts. If your player gets off to a hot start, you may now have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. And on Prize Picks, I love this as well. I utilize this feature all the time. How you play is up to you. If you want flexibility, choose the flex play where you get paid even if one of your picks misses. But if you want the biggest payouts, go for the power play, because no matter how you play, Prize Picks is a great way to put your takes to the test. So download the Prize Picks app today and use promo code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's promo code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That link, by the way, down in the comment section and the description of our video today. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Now, we do also have some coaching changes to talk about here for Alabama as well. Tight ends coach Brian Ellis is expected to take over as the new quarterbacks coach, taking over for former quarterbacks coach Nick Sheridan, who ended up taking the offensive coordinator role at Michigan State. And, the first thing I thought of, has Brian Ellis ever, been a quarterbacks coach before? It definitely made me wonder there. By the way, Football Scoop had the scoop on this, no pun intended there. And I've seen it picked up by some other outlets, so I would assume this is true. This is going to eventually happen here. But when you're talking about Brian Ellis, yes, he has had experience at the quarterback position. He actually played quarterback at UAB from 2007 to 2011. Ended up being a grad assistant there a couple years following that, 2012 to 2013. Then he went to Western Kentucky. He was an offensive quality control coach. He was a running backs coach. He was a pass game coordinator, and he was a wide receivers coach there in his first stint at Western Kentucky. Then he went to USC. He was the quarterback coach there from 2017 to 2018. Goes back to Western Kentucky 2019 to 2021. He was the offensive coordinator, quarterbacks coach there. So, Brian Ellis does have a lot of experience, on the offensive side of the ball, coaching the quarterbacks. He was also the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach at Georgia Southern before he was hired here at Alabama. So you do have a open vacancy right now at that tight end coach spot. So Kalen Moore going to have to get busy to hire a offensive or excuse me, not an offensive coordinator, a tight ends coach here, as soon as possible, I guess you could say. So what is your one-word reaction to Brian Ellis being the quarterback's coach? Let me know what you guys think. Get creative down in the chat. Are you excited about it? Are you nervous about it? And I know there's some other coaches on this staff that there's some Alabama fans that want gone. But talking about Brian Ellis here. So what is your one-word reaction to Brian Ellis being that quarterback's coach? Now, former Alabama commit might be on the table right now via the transfer portal. Michigan offensive tackle Ty Haywood will enter the college football transfer portal after only 1 year playing at Michigan. Now, I know, a lot of people probably remember we talked about Ty Haywood a lot on our show here. Was previously committed to Alabama, ended up flipping either like the day before or on signing day. I really don't remember there. But look, this was his first year at Michigan, only played 15 snaps for Michigan this year. And look, this could be a guy. He has the relationships with this Alabama coaching staff. He was committed to Alabama for a very, very long time. And, they're going after a lot of offensive linemen in the transfer portal right now. Just throwing it out there. I've seen some reports that Ty Haywood definitely could be a target for Alabama in the transfer portal along the offensive line. So do you want Alabama to pursue Ty Haywood? Let me know what you guys think. There might be some people out there that are still hurting a little bit from him flipping from Alabama to Michigan late there in the process. But let me know, are you okay with it at this point? Have you changed your mind on Ty Haywood? Do you want Alabama to pursue him? Type Y for yes or N for no.